How we doing, everybody? Tim from Ski Rex Media once again, your humble host of the Ski Rex Media podcast and Z-list celebrity, which I'm confident in saying because merch is going out, so the word of Ski Rex Media is spreading even further. And here we are again, not just a regular podcast video, but another Q&A video, this time from G-Move at Twitter. G-Move asks, who is responsible for your actions and consequences? And this is in the context of ducking ropes. I did a piece. I wrote a quick piece about the temptation for rope ducking. A personal piece, just my thoughts on the temptation of ducking ropes, whether it be inbounds, out of bounds, it doesn't matter. I wrote this about ducking ropes. And G-Move brought up a point that out in Colorado, I believe, people will get arrested if you get caught ducking ropes, especially going into out of bounds areas. And that's not the only place. I'm fairly certain that those laws are in place, around the world. I'm sure there's got to be other places with those laws. It can't just be out in Crested Butte, So who is responsible? Who is actually responsible? Well, with laws like that in place, there's tons of laws like this to keep us safe. There's the seatbelt laws. We all follow that. There's helmet laws for motorcycles and things of the like. There's, tons of different safety rules and laws that if not followed, not only could you get hurt, but you could be cited or you could be arrested. Those laws are in place and make sense to be there. Those are not just to protect us, the public at large, but to protect those who might have to go out in the woods and down these crazy cliffs and mountains and fly in helicopters and hiking and have the big off-road ambulances and stuff to keep everybody safe. But in the end, you're responsible for your own actions and the consequences of those actions. And it's kind of funny that this question came up now, or that I'm answering it now, because this week's podcast is about consequences as well. Comes out on Wednesday. As for going out of bounds and stuff, it sucks that someone has to go and rescue. I shouldn't say it that way. It can suck for someone to have to go out and rescue someone else, because that person should have taken responsibility for their own actions and should have thought before going out there, been really honest about it. Are they ready to go out there? Are they able to go out in the backcountry? Or even something as simple as ducking an inbounds rope. The ski patrol closes trails for a reason, so ducking that rope, yeah, it's freshy fresh, but you could get hurt. And then someone could also get hurt coming after you to save you from your freshy fresh adventure. God, that was a mess, wasn't it? But no, the responsibility comes down to, everybody's self, and you have to take responsibility for your own consequences. As far as even, bogus lawsuits against these mountains, one has to, you see it all the time. There's been a couple that have awarded millions to people who have gotten hurt and say, well, it was the mountain's fault. And I don't know how much more anti-liability a mountain could put out, how much more warnings, things. Honestly, if there is negligence on the mountain's part, then obviously, if they don't do right by you, then a lawsuit is probably a thing. But there have been a couple of lawsuits. I talked, what was it? Sometime, was it during the summer, at the beginning of the season? I did an episode about frivolous lawsuits. And one was the Blue Mountain lawsuit, and the other I talked about was in Massachusetts, I think. Young kids getting hurt, and I actually called them out as both being kind of bogus. Like people just trying to get a payday from a mountain, which is never good. That'll end up, they now have to pay that off, and that's going to drive, I can't say will, could drive prices up, and, tickets and food and, whatever else they got there. It could make it even more expensive than it is now, and all kinds of other problems, especially if it becomes a trend and people start suing left and right. And now there's another lawsuit, again, I'm talking about on Wednesday. So to that point, you definitely have to take a look at yourself and say, was this my fault? Especially if you're ducking ropes. Because once you're out of bounds, man, especially if you are going out of bounds, if you're going out of bounds and you're going back country, man, that's all on you. Every little bit of it. You have to know what you're doing. You have to know that you are good enough. You have to know you have the skill set. Because if you don't, you could die out there. And if you duck a rope to get out there, it no longer has anything to do with the ski mountain at all. Like, it certainly doesn't. You know, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a lawsuit come up that says, well, you know, they accessed that, they went that way after getting off your lift, so you're at fault. It's like, no, son, there are ropes, there are signs, we all talk about it. It is your fault or the victim's fault. And I know that sounds harsh. Believe me, your boy Tim is not cold-blooded, not cold-hearted. I love my fellow man and woman a lot, and I don't want to see anybody get hurt. So I always say, if you hit a rope, second guess it. Second guess yourself. Because, yeah, maybe you are good. Maybe you do know what you're doing. But there's a reason they don't want you going out there, at least not that way. I mean, if you pull up on the side of the road and just hike into the woods, I mean, that's completely on you, you know, and more power to you. I get it, you know. I've done it. Not skiing, but I've done it in other ways, you know. There's a vast desert out there around the city of Las Vegas. Sometimes you just pull over and wander out to see what's out there. It's kind of awesome, actually. So I don't know if that answers the question, really, because it seems like, you know, as I've been thinking about it, gearing up to start recording this, I was thinking about it. I have it written down, you know, who is responsible for your actions and consequences. And when it comes down to it, it's always the person. And that could have been that simple answer, even up to and including serious injury and death. In the case of rope ducking, again, if there's negligence or other problems or issues similar to negligence, then obviously the responsibility falls to the person who caused the negligent person or party. But in the case of rope ducking, which is what we were talking about, which brought up this question, it's on the person. You know, I mean, and again, follow local laws. If you know, and understand that's your responsibility too. You may or may not agree with a law. We see that all the time. And it's part of the safety laws, you know, that we have, be it seatbelts or helmets or gun laws or you know, anything of the like, you know, swimming, don't swim here, or, you know, don't hike there, don't drive here, don't look at this, you know. Laws meant to keep us safe, and some could say, well, you know, it's my choice, so if I die, I die, but then, you know, you're not the one cleaning yourself up. So there's a couple different things that could be debated there. I think that that's absolutely, you know, consequence, responsibility, that's all our things, you know. Take responsibility for your own choices. Take responsibility for what you have done, and understand that because of that, you might not come out of a situation if you duck a rope or go into an area you shouldn't be in or aren't good enough to be in, you know? So I don't know if that answers the question. I don't know if I answered the question very well. I hope I did. I hope it at least was entertaining. So thank you to G-Move for that question. Again, hope it was a good answer, dude. I don't know. Because I say it's up to you what you want to do. Just don't break the law and don't go out of your, you know, skill set. There you go. So maybe not the best Q&A video I've ever done, but I hope it was something. Please ask another one if that wasn't good enough, or maybe I can revisit it. Maybe we could keep the conversation going on social media and I'll revisit the question. For now, I am Tim from Ski Rex Media. Thank you for watching. Please check out everything Ski Rex Media has to offer in the description, or skirexmedia.com. You'll find links to everything. Other podcast links, the audio version, the video version, Patreon, and all the social media. Check it out. Tell me if you like it. Tell me if you don't. Subscribership keeps going up. 1 or 2 people a week on YouTube, and then a handful of people on the social medias every week. So keep checking that out too. I am Tim from Ski Rex Media, looking out the beautiful sunshiny window on the other side of the camera here. It is spring, kids. The season is almost over, even here in the East, or at least for here in the East. So maybe I'll see you out there. Maybe I won't. But if I don't, have a good week, and check out the podcast on Wednesday, and then have a good week after that. And then check out the weekend overview video, and then have a good weekend. All right? I'll see you. This is Tim. Later.